They can't attack the message, so they have to disparage the messenger. They have to make it so that you feel some type of way about coming in here and listening to what I have to say. They have to be like, no, this guy is an irredeemable piece of shit, vile monster. Someone like Hasan is a massive threat to our project. All this other stuff is additional silliness that they add on to try to disparage the messenger because they cannot tackle the message. Abby does a Saturday morning show too. This is from today. All right, well, let's see. Let's see what the fuck. Because if you thought the fuck Hasan saga was over, let me tell you, it's not. The bulwark is still hitting it. Third way is still on my ass, bro.
Coming up, it's like, that's a mental problem. And if they can't deal with it themselves, then we should tax them to deal with it.
Lydia. So first, just to briefly address the economics, at least in New York, about the top 1% of basically 40,000 people pay about 50% of the taxes. So if you look at the numbers, I think Mamdani is going to be a tough spot because people will continue to leave. So that's just the reality. But in terms of the way that the rich are being treated, Mamdani, of course, is very close with Hasan Piker, who over the years has made comments that he wants to see effing capitalists' blood in the streets.
They know
and
each other.
Mamdani,
They are not, you're associating Hasan Piker. Don't do that. That's ridiculous.
But Mamdani basically...
Yo, chill. They know each other? No, we're best friends. Okay? We're best friends. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I don't know him. Who's that guy? What's his name? What's his name, chat? Zoran? Zorro? What is it? I don't know who the fuck that guy is. What are we talking about? What is it? Zokron? Is that how you say it? What is he? What's his background? What's he like? Is he Japanese? Zorro? I don't know. I don't know this man. What does he do? I don't know why they're bringing my name up next to him. 9 articles since the rally. Jesus Christ. Corporate media condemns Hasan Piker. I'm a HasanAbi head going to Oxford for my PhD. Hell yeah. Jewish News Syndicate. Racist, misogynistic, xenophobic. Democratic City official says so. Far left podcaster. The Daily Caller. Far left streamer calls for violent revolution after court side with GOP on redistricting. F-bombs and disco balls. Fox News. Leftist streamer calls violent revolution inevitable as Democrats explode over Virginia courts. Yeah. You know what's really funny about this stuff, by the way? At least the Democrats run around apologizing on every issue, right? Even on this issue, there's like a lot of Democrats. Like the New York Democratic Party said that they're not going to redistrict, which I think is ridiculous. Okay? I think it's completely unacceptable, and I think it's ridiculous. All right? You got the Virginia Democrats saying, we will abide by the decision of the Supreme Court. Again, ridiculous. Meanwhile, you got people like myself, outsiders, who are not like invested in the party's success necessarily, but still invested in the battle against fascism, the battle against the Republican Party, screaming from the rooftops, being like, no, you did a good thing with the redistricting in Virginia. You need to keep this up. You need to keep up this energy. I'm not seeing that motion nor that energy from the figureheads within the party. I don't understand it. I mean, I guess I do understand it. Let's be real. It's just, there are reasons for it. There are reasons for it, but I think that there are Democrats who want to put up this fight. There are Democratic voters who certainly want this and demand this from their own elected representatives. But there are, unfortunately, a significant chunk of Democrats in positions of power who are looking at the situation and saying to themselves that it's probably better overall if we don't rock the boat, if we don't fight back, if we don't stick our necks out. And it's very frustrating.
Did a video right in front of Ken Griffin's house, called him out just blocks away from where the United Healthcare CEO had been assassinated.
I want to see this full one. I want to see this full clip. You know, I want to see the full back and forth conversation. Apparently, Matt Bennett is still chirping, even though he went back and forth on this, where he was like, oh, we didn't even want to do this Hasan Piker thing. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. No one should have actually paid attention to us. Continues here, I think. What is this? Wow, Lydia Moynihan just threw anti-billionaire left us into a frenzy. Okay, well, we'll get to the fucking pro-billionaire, anti-billionaire meta. Obviously, it's a big deal. That's like what's popping right now. That's what people are really paying attention to. I got to pee real quick, so I'm just going to start with Matt Bannon. I'm going to leave you with Third Way. They went on Bulwark again, and they're shitting on me again.
He is a vile person. And
he is.
There's plenty of vile people on Twitch, but not many of them are campaigning with major candidates for the U.S. Senate. And so we thought it was important to call him out for that. Now, the criticism was of basically two varieties. Tim and others said, why are you trying to shrink the tent? That's ridiculous. There are people that listen to this guy that we could win, and you're alienating them. And our view is, first of all, we're not saying that no one should go on Piker's stream. Rahm Emanuel said, I'll go on there and tell him he's an asshole. And our view is like, fine. If you want to go on and call him out, that's fine. What you shouldn't do is elevate him as a avatar or spokesperson for Democrats, which campaigning with him just inherently does. Mm-hmm. You can't campaign with someone and then turn around and argue that they are bad. And so our view is no Democrat should campaign with Piker. Not that they shouldn't speak to him, but they shouldn't campaign with him. And moreover, his audience, he does have a large audience, but a lot of it's under 18 or outside the United States or both. And those who are of voting age and Americans is not 100% clear to me are persuadable anyway. This is not a guy that has been helping Democrats. He said he was very skeptical about voting for Kamala Harris. He is a fair weather friend to Democrats at the best of times. And so we just think,
bro, it's so funny. He's literally trying to hit. They're trying to hit every angle they possibly can. He's like, actually, a lot of his fans are from Pakistan. They're not even American. He hates democracy. He one time said he thinks democracy sucks. It just fucking make it all up. You know what I mean? Nobody gives a shit. He's like, there's a lot of vile figures on Twitch, but none of them are campaigning with candidates. Yeah, because I'm a fucking political commentator. Also, why are you yelling? Why are you frustrated? They are the ones who are asking me. What do you want me to do? Tell them no? It sucks because like he just, the reality here is that he cannot get people to stop wanting to actively collaborate with me. Okay? That's what it is. He's just like, why are these Democrats, why are these insurgent Democrats even running? Why are these insurgent Democrats trying to change the dynamic of the party to make it more responsive to the needs of the masses? Why are these insurgent Democrats going to HasanAbi Piker? Why are they not coming to me? They should be coming to me. I was thinking about this quite a bit. Like, there's an entire billion-dollar industry of advisors that work on these campaigns, and their job is specifically to tie up corporate interests back to these campaigns. Their jobs, they get paid a lot of money to basically tell Democrats like, no, you're doing great, sweetie. Just no matter what happens, do not push for like Medicare for all, because that would not be beneficial for our primary benefactors, specifically the private healthcare providers, right? Like they would get very upset, right? And they're making, tens of millions of dollars, both on the corporate side for their lobbying initiatives and also on the campaign side as well to like communicate the interested corporations to these guys. So when they have a guy who not only has his own money, but has no corporate backing whatsoever, unbossed and unbought, it freaks them the fuck out. Because all of a sudden, now, not only do we have a movement where we have real door knockers, we have people that can go out if there's a true investment, okay, in these campaigns, we can make these politicians listen to us. And they fucking hate that. They can't stand it because I'm doing it not only for free, but I'm also spending my own money out of my own goddamn pocket to do it. That is a very, very frustrating predicament. If your entire job is to be the professional who gets people elected, right? If your entire job is to talk to campaigns directly, and all of the other people that are talking to all of these other campaigns are in the in-group, and they're a part of the in-group, and they're also backed by, maybe similar corporations, or they have a buy-in investment in the continuation of the current system, then that's fine. Third Way doesn't care if there are other people that maybe sometimes even attend their conferences that might have some disagreements with them, but ultimately they're backed by some kind of corporate entity, right? There is a buy-in for a lot of these people. They are getting paid by these corporations, right? It might not always be the insurance industry, but it could be the grocery chain, like the National Retailers Association, right? Like there's some kind of buy-in to this to this system. They have a direct financial imperative to continue things the way that they're going. I don't. I'm accountable to no corporate entity whatsoever. I mean, obviously I have to abide by terms of service and stuff, but like I'm only accountable to my community. I'm only accountable, like the only people I care about are my people. And they do not like that at all, because someone like myself, as long as I stayed in the sidelines and never actually directly started talking to politicians and making them hear our concerns, making them hear the concerns of the masses, okay, making them more responsive to the needs of the masses. As long as I was on the sidelines, they'd be fine. But now I'm no longer on the sidelines. I'm actually directly talking to these people. And it's ironic because part of the reason why this exploded is because of this fucking idiot, Matt Bennett at Third Way. If he hadn't made such a big fuss about me stumping with Abdullah Syed, it would have not made a discourse cycle explode for the past 3 months. And in the aftermath of that, virtually every Democrat in the country has reached out to do something. Okay? Virtually every Democrat in the country is like, can we have you fly out here? Like, that would be really nice to highlight some of the things that are happening. It's also hilarious that this guy just puts his L's in the backdrop here. Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, like he's just not even ashamed. I guess he put the cuck chair in front of it. And as AOC also said, something that I say all the goddamn time, they can't attack the message, so they have to disparage the messenger. They have to make it so that you feel some type of way about coming in here and listening to what I have to say. They have to be like, no, this guy is an irredeemable piece of shit, a vile monster. Right? One of the worst people in American politics. You have to stay away. Do not look at him. Look away. But for a lot of the people that hear this kind of posturing, especially coming from a loser, right? A loser like Third Way Democrats who have had a stranglehold in the communications of the Democratic Party, the national party that has been unresponsive to the needs of the masses, especially post like Bill Clinton era, this right-wing constant pivot to being moderate, this let's not fight the Republicans Democratic Party that everybody despises now. Third Way is responsible for that messaging. But it's very funny that this has been a spectacular failure, right? It's been a massive failure because they hit this line over and over again, and all this led to was more prominence for your boy. All this led to was more attention to what we're doing.
Two varieties. Tim and others said, why are you trying to shrink the tent? That's ridiculous. There are people that listen to this guy that we could win, and you're alienating them. And our view is, first of all, we're not saying that no one should go on Piker's stream. Rahm Emanuel said, I'll go on there and tell him he's an asshole, and our view is like, fine. If you want to go on and call him out, that's fine.
Buddy, you have no motion. You have no motion. What are you talking about? You don't get to dictate these terms at all. And not only that, but actually, it's not true to say he has no motion. He has negative motion, right? What's really funny about this process and the way that it's like unfolded is that they have negative motion. So what ended up happening is when they started calling out people that were aligning with me, a lot of other people went, oh, but you're a loser. We don't like what you have to say at all. And you, more importantly, don't know how to win races. So we're going to go with this other guy. Also, I'm rocking a suit and he's not. So which one of us is the real professional? Which one of us is the real professional, sir?
What you shouldn't do is elevate him as a avatar or spokesperson for Democrats, which campaigning with him just inherently does. You can't campaign with someone and then turn around and argue that they are bad. And so,
maybe that's the reason why they're not doing that. They're doing that so you basically get off their asses. Campaign all you want with Bill Kristol and Liz Cheney, who have immense amounts of blood on their hands, but Hasan Piker's off limits. Amazing that Bill Kristol's website has become the leading Dem foreign policy arm and the self-anointed moral conscience of the party. I'm not going to lie. I think Bill Kristol's probably more woke than these guys, for the record. Like, Bill Kristol's been like talking about abolishing ICE and shit. So low key, Bill Kristol probably aligns with me more than he aligns with Sarah Longwell at this point, you know? He's just writing fanfics about you on live TV now.
View is no Democrat should campaign with Piker. Not that they shouldn't speak to him, but they shouldn't campaign with him. And moreover, his audience, he does have a large audience, but a lot of it's under 18 or
that's not true.
Outside the United States.
Also not true. Overwhelming majority of my audience, if not damn near entirety of my audience, is America, some in Canada, and the UK. Okay, it's mostly the English-speaking world, but like the hugest chunk of my audience is Americans. That's number one. Number two, under 18 is a minuscule percentage of my audience, so he's wrong about that as well. This community is now basically in the 18 to 35 bracket, firmly, and it's actually more so in the plus 25 to 35 range. This community has grown older, as I have grown older, okay? Community has aged alongside myself, so that's also untrue.
And those who are of voting age and Americans is not 100% clear to me are persuadable anyway. This is not a guy that has been helping Democrats. He said he was very skeptical about voting for Kamala Harris. He's a fair weather friend to Democrats at the best of times, and so we just think having a bigot around is bad. And the second reason it's super bad, not only is it immoral, but it's terrible politics. It allows Republicans, not unfairly, to connect us to his most vile...
Dog, you're the Republican. You're the Republican connecting the Democrats. This is the problem, okay? I just want these guys to be honest. Just fucking be honest. Because if he was honest, here's what he would say. We here at the Third Way. Let's look at Third Way's donors real quick, okay? Third Way donors. Yeah, here, I'll do the AI summary first, okay? Third Way is a centrist think tank funded by a combination of wealthy investors, liberal mega donors, and corporate interests, including financial services and lobbying groups. I've actually given up on this at this point. It's just like that's the only fucking thing that works now. Everything is AI summary. Okay. Corporate and trade groups. Third Way has received funding from entities including the NCTA, Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, and Securities Industry and Financial Markets Association. Their donors and foundations reported supporters include Bernard and Ann Spitzer Charitable Trust, Bernard and Irene Schwartz Foundation. Individuals, the board and supporters include wealthy investors and donors such as David Horvitz, Rachel Pritzker. Lobbying firms utilize lobbying firms like Peck Madigan, whatever. Funding structure, it's a 501c4 and a 501c3, which accept contributions from donor-advised funds. They don't generally disclose their donors publicly, however. Let's look at the profile summary here. Third Way is invested in maintaining, and this is self-described, maintaining a moderate perspective that is pro-billionaire, pro-corporation within the Democratic Party. Like, that's what their job is, right? Their mission as a national think tank and advocacy organization champions moderate policy and political ideas. They have openly stated all the way back on March 1st, 2026, that their mission is to stop AOC. Their goal is to stop the left flank resurgence within the party. They do not want a Bernie Sanders style candidate to be running the Democratic Party, to be the most, you sound libtarded for real? Yes, that's me. They obviously don't have any real motion. Their videos get like 100 views, right? Like their videos are motionless for the most part, but they're propped up by mainstream media because they are a vehicle for moneyed interest. They do these massive, they do these like, you know, these DC festivals, right? They fund other groups as well, oftentimes to run these sorts of like better things are not possible ass conferences, right? And in those conferences, they often pay people to come and speak in front of these audiences. They put these people in front of wealthy donors. This is how it works, okay? Like their organic reach is, you know, approximately 100 people, but they are 100 of the wealthiest people in the country. And obviously, politicians want that money. Politicians want those endorsements. Politicians care quite a bit about winning their elections, and they know the only way to do so is by being in the pocket of corporate interests. And third way is the facilitator of these relationships. If you want to understand a bright future for the Democrats, or look at the shaky past of the Democratic Party post-Clinton or during Clinton and beyond, Third Way has its fingerprints in everything that the Democrats have done as far as leaning heavily into being a more moderate party, constantly conceding on culture war issues of the Republicans, and primarily being invested in championing the oligopoly, the corporate oligarchy that dominates American politics and puts your interests second. That's it. They don't have any real investment in democracy. They don't have any real investment in the Democrats winning necessarily. They are just the corporate vehicle for the Democrat side. Okay, there's a million of them on the Republican side, but this is basically like the corporate one, the corporate lobbying wing in the Democratic Party side. What is this? Oh yeah, this was their response to the 2024 loss. Takeaways on why Democrats have a cultural disconnect with the working class. Overemphasis on identity politics, the faculty lounge problem, failure to prioritize economic concerns. Yeah, except the Democratic Party's failure to prioritize economic concerns stems from Third Way's impact, ironically enough. Allowing the far left to define the party, all this stuff. Takeaways on why Democrats are not trusted by the working class. Vilification of wealth. Really? That's what the problem was, that Kamala Harris wasn't too pro-billionaire. These guys don't know what real people want, okay? These guys don't know how real people feel. I can say that. Vilification of greed. They're too angry at the greedy. Anyway, Third Way is they got $31 million in revenue in 2024, and their expenses were $24.5 million. But it's not just the amount of money that they're dumping, and they're dumping a lot more money this time around. Okay, and their goal is to basically thwart some sort of like AOC run, not just AOC, but basically any kind of insurgent left candidacy. They don't want the Democratic Party to become a party that works in the interest of the working class. They don't want that. They want to maintain the current corporate stranglehold over the Democratic Party. That's their job, and that's why they're attacking me so aggressively, so viciously. And my point is this: if they were honest, if Matt Bennett, who apparently makes as Secretary and Executive Vice President of Public Affairs $379,453 comp plus $41,140. Okay, or all these other fucking people that make this kind of money to get like 200 YouTube views. Okay, insane amounts of money, connecting Democrats with wealthy benefactors. Right? If he was being honest, he would simply say, "I'm backed by the corporate wing of the party. My job is to facilitate relationships with Big Pharma, with ExxonMobil, with numerous other wealthy oligarchs, to make sure that Democrats are basically a flesh puppet for their desires. And someone like Hasan is a massive threat to our project. If more and more Democrats realize that this method is successful in both fundraising and achieving door knockers, like getting people to be genuinely invested in these campaigns. If someone like Hasan, who is not beholden to the same corporate interests, can come in and talk directly to campaigns have a direct line of communication with elected representatives, if he can start like winning seats and start changing the ideological makeup of the Democratic Party, this will be a huge problem for us, because I will no longer be able to justify my $471,000 a year salary, because it's going to frustrate all of these incredibly wealthy donors, that the Democrats are no longer responsive to their needs, but instead responsive to the needs of the working class. And that's it. That's their whole purpose here. And all of this other stuff is varnish. All this other stuff is additional silliness that they add on to try to disparage the messenger, because they cannot tackle the message. Graham Plattner's victory in the Democratic Party primary in Maine was a great example of this, right? Obviously, I didn't do much on that side at all, but it doesn't matter. Like he represents this change within the party. He represents a more responsive politics that even 65-plus-year-old white ladies want in the suburbs. Like, they love Graham Plattner. And this is terrifying, because Janet Mills was supposed to be the safe choice. The establishment Democrat that is the governor of the state, that is being backed by all of these corporate interests, being backed by Chuck Schumer, losing to a random insurgency campaign from a guy who had no political office prior, no experience prior. All of a sudden, he's just going out and talking to the voters, and he's putting numbers on the board. This was a huge defeat. The very fact that I had nothing to do with Graham Plattner at all, and yet Graham Plattner was so successful, also proves once again that this is not about me. I'm not like a singular force in this country's politics, but instead this is a very real, organic anger that a lot of Democrats feel, and there are candidates that they are willing to bet on these insurgencies because they feel like people like Graham Plattner are more responsive to their needs, their demands.